Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Jonathan Nill, the Director of Partner Success, and with me is Mark Schwartz, our Director of Business Development. Today, we're going to talk about how transforming your mindset can truly transform your business.
And thank you all for being here today. For those of you who don't know my history, I've been with LegalConnect for about 5 years, and I've been in the industry almost 50. Ouch. My dad started an attorney service back in San Jose in 75. And oh yeah, there's the slides. Thank you, Jonathan. Uh,
Sorry about that.
so I've grown up in the business. I've held various roles over the decades, including operations, product and project management, training, and government relations. Over these last many years, I've transformed my mindset from the old paper-based way of doing business to one that embraces technology, automation, and business development. So if this old dog can do it, so can you. And I suspect some of you on the call already have. Today, we're going to walk you through why digital transformation is not just an option anymore. It's really a necessity, especially in the legal support services industry. By the end of this session, I hope you'll have a clear roadmap for change, practical steps to overcome challenges, and inspiring real-world success stories from partners who've been there, done that.
Can't wait. So before we begin, I want to let everyone know that all attendees are currently muted. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A panel so that we can keep track of those questions. My team is behind the scenes monitoring your questions throughout the session, and we'll make sure to address each and every one of those live at the end. With that, let's go ahead and get started. So today we're going to cover why digital transformation is crucial, what the cost is to sticking to manual processes, the opportunities that come with transformation. We'll hear about best practices from LegalConnect partners, see our proven transformation roadmap. We'll also talk about how to avoid some common pitfalls and see some partner success stories. And then lastly, we'll go over your Q&A at the end.
Yeah, so the case for digital transformation. Let's start with the reality. Many legal support service businesses are still tied to outdated manual processes, or at best, a mix of manual and digital tools. These hybrid approaches can hold you back more than you might think. Some of the common challenges, for example, businesses clinging to outdated manual processes. Are you doing all the data entry yourself? Concierge. Are you generating invoices and statements, which can be very time consuming? Are you tracking orders via spreadsheets or old software? No, please no. Are you offering billing terms, which means slow cash flow and high receivables? We legal support businesses face increasing customer expectations, rising costs, and competition. Without transforming, staying competitive is certainly an uphill battle. Sometimes that digital transformation is just about changing processes. Sometimes, though, it includes adding, changing, or updating your software. For example, Word, Excel, Acrobat. Think of the efficiencies you've gained by using those applications. Litigation support service provider software can do the same for your business. As providers in a high-pressure world, we often forget to work on the business at the expense of working in the business. And it's vital that we do both.
Yeah, that's right, Mark. Talking about what the cost is to sticking to manual processes, they're pretty high. Manual processes increase overhead, they slow down service delivery, they can tighten up your cash flow, and ultimately lead to missed revenue opportunities. In other words, every delay, every inefficiency is money left on the table. So what are the costs to do things manually? We found a research study that showed that a company that relies on manual data entry spends an average of 60% more time than companies that have automated that process. So let's just take an employee making $20 an hour who spends even just 5 or 10 hours a week doing something manually. That's costing you about $4,800 a month that an automation process could handle for you. Most companies who are used to manual steps end up just hiring more people to help solve the problem. But human error is just an inherent risk of manual processes. And correcting those errors takes more time and resources, diverting your employees from other tasks that potentially impacting the quality of service. And that's just what's going on in your office. By not offering a software where your customers can place multiple order types, especially in a single order flow, like e-filing with a service of process or court filing, e-filing with a courtesy copy, your customers may not know of all of the services you offer or the fact that they could submit all of those orders in an efficient manner. Easy to use software will help your customers do things themselves, allowing you and your team to work more efficiently, excuse me. So some limitations of old school practices, like I said, throwing bodies at the problem is just not sustainable. It doesn't allow you to grow. And not setting your customers expectations, like providing them with quotes or estimates or service promises of when something is expected to be completed.
So let's talk about some real world examples of inefficiencies. Boy, that real world is a tongue twister, I'll tell you. Impacted financial health. Delayed payments from open credit or paper invoices. Read the slide, Mark. Delayed payments, or terms as we often refer to them, almost took a partner out of business because their customers were taking advantage of their net 30. No, say it ain't so. Customers treat us like we're banks. Taking payment when the services are completed and the customer is happy is a lot easier than months later, especially if the firm has already settled the case. Think like Amazon. You don't buy the book with Amazon and then Amazon sends you the book and hopes you pay them. No, you pay for the book when you get the book. And if there's an issue down the road, you ask for a refund. Stunted efficiencies. Using outdated tools can play a huge role in being inefficient, as Jonathan just mentioned. Are you manually creating proofs or affidavits in Word or Adobe? I hope you're not still doing that. If you are, there's certainly a better way. Limited business growth? Well, too many of those manual processes and high labor costs, as Jonathan alluded to earlier, means you're spending more time working in the business and less time working on the business. And you're bogged down by those high labor demands. That all impacts your ability to grow.
So, what are the benefits of going digital? Let's think about what Mark just said and now imagine the opposite: a faster, more accurate service, modernized operations, quicker payments, happier clients, and increased revenue. And that's what going digital delivers. And it's more achievable than you think. So, let's talk about some key strategies. These include client self service by allowing your clients to enter the data themselves via an online portal anytime, anywhere. That helps reduce errors and your staff workload. Automation, excuse me. Use software to auto-generate work orders, proofs, affidavits, statuses, emails, things that help your company run smoothly while it leaves your team to do what's most valuable. Modernize your operations, such as leveraging LegalConnect's portal for orders, status updates, document handling. Again, this frees up your staff to do more meaningful things like client conversations and efficiency partnerships. Accelerated payments, like Mark said, let's move away from the net 30 terms and improve your cash flow. Our parent company, Rapid Legal, started off as a garage doing net 30s, net 90s, and is now doing millions in revenue without any receivables. You guys can do this as well. How do you enhance client satisfaction? Keep your pricing transparent, set accurate expectations, and deliver on those service promises. And increased revenue, really look at what the industry standards are for price rates. And if you need to increase those rates to stay in line, do that. Enable multiple order submissions. Again, like e-file process, serve as a process to e-file the proof or file the proof, courtesy copies with your filings, things like that, especially in a single order flow. And you can explore add-on services like concierge work.
So let's talk about the partner best practices. We've worked with countless partners. Some of you are on the call today. Good to see you again. And we've distilled what works. You'll see that success isn't about luck. It's about adopting the right strategies and tools consistently. Your blueprint for success, if you will. A lot of our partners, or some of them, do concierge service as the norm. And I suggest to you that should be an upgrade at a premium price for those who prefer personalized support. Instead, encourage your customers to easily create their orders online and their accounts online. Once they have their online account, they can place their own orders with convenience from their iPad, from the beach, from their home, from their office, you name it. Again, think about concierge service as an upgrade that you can charge for and help your bottom line. We also offer integrations with Clio, NetDocuments, and iManage, which further simplifies your customers, I like that,
That's a new one.
your customers' workflow. Let them take those documents directly from their practice management systems right into your system and have that data flow right back. That adds to your value and makes you, therefore, more valuable. And I can't stress it enough. Require customer payment at the time of order submission. Follow the Amazon e-commerce model. A lot of folks think that law firms are adverse to that, and sure, there are some. But today you'll find they're much more used to that. It is a different world. Regarding operations, well, equip your staff to only dispatch work, enter statuses, and process concierge orders where you're getting that extra revenue. Empower your vendors to receive, execute, and update orders. Simplify service of process and order updates, confirm GPS locations, and attach photos in real time. Which brings to mind a bill that's currently pending in the legislature here in California, AB 747. Looks like it's going to get through the legislature, and it's likely that Governor Newsom will sign this bill, and it's going to dictate some requirements, including GPS and photos on just about every serve we do. There's a good example of how technology is changing the landscape. Back office finance stuff, well, process payments using soon to launch best-in-class Stripe, the payment processor that we're going to be switching our partners over to. Manage billing from start to finish with QuickBooks Online integration. Analyze performance with reports that give insights into orders, users, invoices, staff utilization, and more. And share those reports with your staff and customers. And speaking of customers, one of the things that I recommend highly, and one of the things that I at LegalConnect have done with some of you on the call, are what we call business reviews. And sometimes we call them quarterly business reviews, because guess what? We do them every quarter. You can run certain reports from the operations portal. You can invite users, paralegals, managers, you name it, ideally in person. Bring them cookies, you know how they all love food, and do some quarter-to-quarter comparisons. Get some feedback from your customers. Address issues head on. You have the potential to save accounts you didn't even know were on the bubble. How many of us have lost an account and that's the first we've heard they were upset? If you can get in front of that, spend some time with your customers, and give them, again, more value, that's going to happen less often. You can also take advantage of that time and learn about changes at the firm. New attorneys, new users, attorneys or users that are no longer there, a partner that's leaving to start his or her own firm. It gives you an opportunity as well to weed out potential disruptors and, more importantly, find who your champions are. Good example, you can go into a firm and say, hey, we work with countless firms. Here's where you compare with what they're doing. Here's what your rejection rate is. Here's the order types you're doing. Would you like to discuss these options even more? Again, add to that value. I think that's something that we miss a lot, is we don't spend enough time working with and talking with our customers and helping them out. You got high rejections, or your customers do, with e-filings. That's an opportunity for you to train them up. Reach out to them, get on the phone with them, and set up some time to go in and talk to them. And you can also provide some stats on how you're performing. Put yourself under the microscope. Let them know you're not afraid to tell them how good you are, or in some cases, when you mess up. That's a good thing. Have fun, ask questions. Why so many serves? Hey, did that case settle? Who's new at the firm? Do you know who gets rejected more? Your operators or your customers? If you don't, you should, and so should your customers.
All right, so let's talk about our transformation roadmap here. We use a four-step path to guide our partners from assessment to implementation, optimization, and growth. This method ensures that you not only make the change, but that you sustain it. So what's the first step? You're doing it already by joining today's webinar. Ideally, you're thinking about what your processes are and if or how they can improve. Next, not only shift your mindset, but your staff's and your customers too. Here's an opportunity for you to take the lead. Steve Jobs used to quote, "People don't know what they want until you show it to them." He really believed that customers often can't articulate what their needs are and basically put it as the responsibility of innovators to anticipate what those needs are and create products that will fulfill them. So I leave you with this question. Are you an innovator? By optimizing processes is what Mark just talked about on the previous slide. And lastly, there's always work to be involved. Whatever software you choose, you will need to do some type of setup. But once you're done, you're ready to rock and roll. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room here. We want you to use LegalConnect to its full ability. It's true, it's certainly our first goal here today to get us to use more products. But our secondary goal is your success and growth, because that becomes our success as well.
Now, if you're already if you're already a partner, but doing only e-filing, for example, consider adding other products that you can offer to your customers so that you can, again, increase your value, make them more efficient, and most importantly, manage all that work in one place, and so can they. Well, how do you overcome some common pitfalls, like resistance to change? As I said in my intro, and many of you know this, been here a while, and resistance to change is common. Customers and staff can definitely be resistant. Sure. Solve that, though, by showing clear, measurable benefits. Some examples: quick order placement, ability for customers to get statuses, conformed copies, or proofs of services and affidavits immediately, what we call deliverables. Enable one member of the team at the law firm to notify other members of the team as their order is working through the process, no pun intended. So a legal secretary can add a paralegal and the attorney to the work order and therefore get notifications to that whole team, making everybody more efficient and helping with communication. Inconsistent adoptions. For example, you switch over to new software, but you keep using the old because you're more familiar with it. It's easy to go to that comfort zone. Don't do that. Address it instead by setting clear policies for staff and clients. Get buy-in early. That's certainly an option. But once you've made the decision to pull the trigger, move forward. Don't go back. You've also got a daily cadence that we recommend that'll help you address this inconsistent adoption pitfall. Have a certain schedule where you're getting statuses from your servers, where you're working on your deliverables, proofs, and file endorsed copies, affidavits, etc. Doing your invoices and billing at a certain time every day. Your staff gets used to that cadence, your customers get used to that cadence, and so do you. And then what's nice about the invoicing billing section or part is, hey, that money then flows into your account the next day. So you keep that rhythm rolling. When you're dealing with your staff, and especially your customers, be firm, yet kind and empathetic. And I don't mean to patronize, because I think a lot of you know this already. One of the things that I've heard from someone I admire greatly is the customer is not always right, but the customer is always the customer. Lack of training. Yeah, that's something that we tend to neglect because we're all so busy. Make time and overcome that pitfall by making training continuous and accessible. Any touch is a good touch. As I mentioned earlier, you can take advantage of a rejection and an irritated customer by picking up the phone, walking them through the problem, and helping them out. And you'll find that you'll turn lemons into lemonade by doing that. Another good benefit of having that conversation is cross-selling. Oftentimes during training or having that conversation about training or rejections, we'll hear this, oh, you can serve the paper for me too? I can't tell you how many times I've been at a law firm and I'm showing them how to place an e-filing order, and they see right there in front of them, oh, I can do service of process and file proofs in the same order. Yes, you can file those affidavits after service. You can do all that at once. Sometimes they just don't see it because they're so focused on what they're doing, and they, like all of us, are in a hurry. But that's certainly a benefit and one of the pitfalls, or one of the ways you can overcome that pitfall and get a little extra revenue by doing that. So I hope these suggestions are helpful. They're not going to eliminate the pitfalls, but hopefully you're now be a little more prepared to deal with them.
All right. So let's talk about some real success stories that we have here. I know we have a partner A, B, C, D, but we'll actually share with you who these are. So partner A here is Swift Legal. They're out of the Bay Area. When they started with LegalConnect, they automated their operations, reduced their outstanding AR by 60%, and accelerated their cash flow dramatically. Partner B here, Legal Document Server, they're based out of Los Angeles. They went digital and grew their user base exponentially, and they gained access to courts that they didn't have, they couldn't reach before.
Partner C, our friends Janie and Janie down in Los Angeles. They reduced their AR from months to days, improved operational efficiency, and expanded their customer base significantly. Partner D is Bay Area File. Hey, Christy. Christy's joining us from the Bay Area today. And one of the big things that they were able to do was handle a larger customer and order volume once they got automation. And now they're thriving because of that. And let's be honest, because of their hard work. In the end, automation helps, but you still have to put in the time. Now, you can read more about these partners' experiences if you haven't seen it by taking a look at our news and insights page and searching for lessons from the trenches. We're going to go ahead and drop a link into the chat for you. But do you notice a couple common themes? Yep, it's automation and receivables. And for those of you who are on the call that have our full suite of services, you already know this, and congratulations. For those of you who aren't using all the products that you could, or that are not yet utilizing our platform at all, hopefully you'll consider a change.
And for those of you who are wondering about reliability, just this year alone, from January through May, we've processed 2.6 million e-filing orders and 175,000 process serving orders. We also adhere to SOC 2 data security standards, so you and your clients are in safe hands. What is SOC 2? It's a compliance framework established by the American Institute of CPAs that defines standards on how service organizations securely manage and protect customer data. Certified as a SOC 2 compliant organization, LegalConnect has undergone a rigorous audit to ensure our system meets the AICPA's strict security standards. Our commitment to security is ongoing. We continuously audit our processes and maintain compliance to provide your business with a secure, reliable legal support platform.
Thank you, Jonathan. Yeah, SOC and AICPA, well, that's a lot of stuff. I think we're all definitely into the abbreviation world nowadays, no doubt. But hey, I hope you all get the message. It's simple, we think. Transform your mindset, like this old dog has, and you can transform your business.
That's right. If you're ready to take the next step, please reach out to Mark and let's make your transformation a reality.
Yeah, and if you know someone that needs help, please forward my contact information to them, or reach out to me and send me their contact information. I'm happy to do the heavy lifting. Now, before we sign off, we'd love to hear some questions, and it looks like we have a few already in the Q&A, so let's take a peek. All right. Here's the first one. For a business that's been using manual processes for decades, where's the best place to start with digital transformation without overwhelming the team? Jonathan, you want to take a stab at that one?
Sure. Understanding what your processes are and where you're losing opportunities is probably the first thing that you need to understand and tackle. The second thing would be understanding what other companies have done, like LegalConnect, with our partners. That's going to be definitely something that you want to understand and familiarize yourself with. That way, you go when you're ready to make that transition and you're starting with your customers and your team, that you have a good idea of how you're going to set those clear expectations moving forward.
Yeah, and I'll add to that. One of the things that I tell folks that I'm talking to who are interested in our software is we're not going to just give you the software and say good luck. We like to spend time with our partners. That's why we call them partners. We feel it's collaborative and we want to make sure that we're all in it together. We'll jump on calls with you to strategize. We'll jump on calls with your staff to talk about the best ways to move forward. We'd like to hear from your staff and you about what your processes are, and we can make suggestions as to how those might change because we can take all of our decades of experience and help with that because of all that experience. While at the same time, listening to what you have to say, again, working together to come up with a good strategy to help you make that transformation. Here's
Absolutely.
another question. How long does it typically take before a business starts to see a return on investment after going digital? Jonathan, go for it.
Sure. So, look, we're not going to say it's as soon as you sign up with anything, it's going to be night and day. You're going to immediately start seeing a return on investment. Things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. Training, setup, building, adjusting processes, right? All of that is going to take some time. If you want a number, I'm going to throw out 3 to 6 months is when you will start to expect to see your return on investment there. But again, we're here to help and support you. Any questions, any struggles, processes, things that don't make sense, how do I handle these situations? Please feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to have a conversation with you on how to talk to your customers.
Indeed. And one of the things that we do see is some of our partners don't take advantage of the relationship they have with their customers. Oftentimes they think, oh, I need to go out and get new business. That's how I'm going to get my return on investment. When instead, you'll find that if you talk to customers that are using you for e-filing but not service a process, you can probably get that service a process. Alternatively, they're using you for service a process but not for e-filing. You can get that work too. The faster that you can do that, the faster that you can work on the business, the quicker you will see that return on investment. As Jonathan said, there's really no formula, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever. But what we can tell you is for partners that do these things, they do see a return on investment and it can be substantial.
Absolutely.
All right, we got a couple more. Let's see here. My clients like that we take orders. How do I convince them self-service is good for them too? Yeah, the concierge approach when you're doing all the data entry, but perhaps not getting paid for that. Well, one thing that law firms do take to heart is risk mitigation. So that's one option or one thing you can mention to them. It reduces their risk because there's fewer touch points. There's fewer people handling the work. It also reduces costs for them, and it gives them the ability to place orders 24/7 from any location. So it's more convenient.
Yeah, that's right. So like Mark said earlier in one of the slides, concierge should be a premium service that you offer. Make sure you're charging for that. That's your time, effort that your team is spending putting on these orders that could easily be done by your customers. If they want you to do it, great, no problem. You have a new revenue stream. But by making it accessible and easy for your customers, I can almost guarantee you they're going to want to be able to do it themselves.
Indeed, indeed. Looks like the last question we have today is I don't want to automate my staff out of a job. Yeah, I know how that feels. How do you direct staff to new work? And that second part of the question is really the key. It's not about getting rid of staff. And honestly, sometimes that happens with automation. But really, what it's about is how can you redirect those resources so that you can take advantage of that automation? By using automation, by helping your staff do some of those things they're doing today manually, now maybe you can direct that diamond in the rough over to do some sales or some marketing, spend a little more time on training. That's really, I think, the best way to work on that issue. Don't tell your staff, oh, you're gone. I've got a new software program. But instead, hey, I think you can do this instead. Let's have the software take care of this and put your skills to better use over here.
Yeah, what I would add on to that, Mark, is use the reports that LegalConnect offers and figure out how you can use those reports to improve your efficiencies, but also help your customers as well. Mark talked about the quarterly business reviews. You can have somebody who understands the business, your business, the industry, to utilize those reports to your advantage.
Sweet. Well, it looks like that's all the questions we have. Again, thank you for attending today. We really appreciate it. And before we sign off, anything, Jonathan, you want to add?
Nope, I excited to hear from you, and please reach out with any questions, concerns, or desire to move and grow.
Keep on keeping on, be safe, and we very much appreciate what you all do to keep our legal system moving. Have a good rest of your day and a great week.
Thanks, everybody.